Hi, I'm Dr. Ferry. We're going to be spending the time in this video on the human-centered design process, specifically the define stage. You've done customer discovery, and out of that, you've got qualitative and quantitative data, interviews, observations, and you want to make sense of it. That's where the define stage comes in. You want to do an objective, unbiased analysis. What did you learn? What are the themes? What are the underlying needs that you've uncovered? From your interviews, you've gotten a lot of comments, and those are qualitative data, and you'd like to be able to find a way of quantifying that. So one way of doing it is to look at the comments and identify themes that arise. You can say that these are categories that you create as you look at the comments and say, there are a lot of them that are in this way, and you come up with these categories, these themes. And then you actually take all of your comments and you group them into the different themes. Now, some comments may be kind of complex and they may fit into more than one theme, and that's okay. And then you go and count the number of comments in each theme to find the prominent themes. And that's maybe where you might want to focus. Here's an example of some themes that you might get from interviewing seniors who want to live on their own. Out of the interviews, you've categorized things into these sorts of themes. You've heard a lot of comments, and these are the categories you came up with. And the other types of themes that you might come up with is, what are the challenges that they had? And these are maybe things that you observed, like hearing impairment, loss of tactile functionality, like the fine motor skills in their hands. So these are the themes from those interviews. There are some frameworks that we can use for analysis. These are some that we're going to go through. Let's start out with Maslow's hierarchy. And this is a pyramid of human needs. At the bottom of the pyramid are the basic needs, starting out with like food, water, shelter, and then employment and safety. And then going up in sort of these levels of abstraction, you get into psychological needs, love and belonging, esteem, respect that you get from people, recognition. And the top level is really the self-fulfillment needs, creativity, entertainment, self-improvement. You can categorize the needs that you've gotten from your interviews into where they lay in this pyramid. And what we've found in working with customers is that if you're interested in developing a product that's at this level, but the customer's basic needs are not being met, then it's unlikely you'll be able to sell something at the upper level. But if the basic needs are being met and their needs fall into this area, then you can develop a product for that. Another framework that you can use is a two-dimensional map. And in this particular case, I'm showing it as an example demonstrating those seniors that were interviewed. On one axis is the needs, with the high priority needs over here and low priority needs over in this direction. And I chose to make the second axis what's challenging, and what's very challenging for them. So then I placed the needs here on this map. And I put purchasing food and medicine over here because it's both a high priority need and very challenging. It's similar to going to the doctor. Now, something that is maybe very, very challenging, but maybe less priority is over here, home maintenance, because, you know, maybe they don't need to do it very often or they can let it slide. So if I look at this, the areas that I might want to focus on for my product development is those topics that are high priority and very challenging, like over here. And there's another framework I wanted to talk about, and that is making sure that you understand the root cause and do a root cause analysis. In the last video, there was discussion about root cause and saying that you need to ask follow-on questions, several follow-on questions to make sure you understand the root cause. Well, there is one way that's a procedural thing to do, and that's the 5 whys. And now I'm going to demonstrate the 5 why process with this example. So suppose there's a problem. The monuments in Washington, D.C. deteriorate and they need frequent repairs. So you want to force yourself to ask why. Why do they deteriorate? And the answer is, and this would come up by talking to your customers or talking to the humans, either the customers or somebody's knowledgeable about this, and you have to get their answers. Why are the monuments deteriorating? And their answer might be, well, because of the cleaners that we use. It's like, well, why do you have to clean them, or why do you have to clean them often? What's the problem with the cleaners? And it turns out that there are a lot of bird droppings, and that's why you have to clean them. Okay, so then you have to think about, well, what's your next why question? Why are there so many bird droppings? And the answer is, there's an abundance of spiders. Okay, next question. Force yourself to keep asking those why questions. Why so many spiders? There's an abundance of insects. Okay, why are there so many insects? They're attracted to the lights at twilight. And the reason that you force yourself to go down all these paths to ask these follow-up questions is to find that root cause. Because what our tendency is to jump to answers, jump to problems very quickly. So one of the things that might happen is you say, oh, there's all these birds, so let's put up netting to like stop the birds from coming in, coming to get to so close to the building. That might be your solution, because certainly as engineers, we want to jump to those problem solvings very quickly. But you got to wait. You got to force yourself to keep asking why. In this particular case, it's a linear progression of whys. And you get to the bottom thing, why, the root cause that insects are attracted to lights at twilight. So a solution might be, don't turn on the lights at twilight, delay them. Put them on a little bit later. And it's during that time period that they're attracted, and that might solve it. It's a much simpler problem and much more nice looking than putting up netting everywhere. Another example I want to give about seniors, going back to this example about seniors living on their own and coming up with a product for it. And look with like problem, why is it's difficult to purchase food is what's come up in the themes, but why? It's hard to get to the store. And then you ask, well, why is it hard to get to the store? Well, I can't drive. Can't drive anymore. Okay. Why could you not use other means like Lyft or Uber or something like that? It's hard to use the app. I've tried it and it's really hard to use that app. Okay. Why is it hard to use the app? It's hard to click on the buttons, or maybe they say it's hard to navigate the app. Why is it hard to click on the buttons? Well, I really have trouble with that. I have trouble pushing the buttons, or maybe I've got the arthritis, circulation in the fingers. Maybe you try to click on it and it's not reading your finger clicks because you don't have good circulation. Or why, maybe separately on navigating the app, why is it hard to navigate the app? It's kind of confusing. There's no instructions on it, and it's not obvious what I have to do. So now you're looking at the original problem. It's difficult to purchase food, but the underlying causes are down here. So that's a root cause. There's another framework that is built around the startup thesis, and that framework is taught in the CreateX courses. That's based on the startup thesis. X, which is your customer, will buy Y, which is your product or service, because of Z. And that's why they would buy it, like basically what needs you're trying to fill. Now, Z is often called your value proposition, why they will want to buy this or use a product or service. It should be specific, not contain words like convenience, valuable, or fun. At the end of the define stage, you should identify X, which is your customer base, and it may be a little bit more refined than what you started before you were doing the interviews. So by the time you end the define stage, it is the refined version of your customer base and your Z. You don't touch Y yet. Don't try to solve the problems in the define stage. In the ideate stage, that's when you brainstorm for Y. Here's an example of a startup thesis. My X is my seniors with some limited abilities who live on their own. That's the customers I want to deal with. And notice that I've refined it from before because of my customer discovery. I decided to refine my customer base, but that's X. They will buy Y so that they can do these things. These are the needs that I want to meet. This is my value proposition. Notice that Y I have left undefined at this point. In summary, we started the define stage with our data from our customer discovery. And then out of the define stage, we come up with the needs that we want to meet, the problems to solve. In other words, our startup thesis, the X and the Z. Thank you.